Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there. Welcome to New Life Live. Really glad that you're with us today. And joining me, JJ West and Marc Cameron. Hello, men. How are you?
Doing
Steve.
well.
Great to be on.
Steve. Hey, JJ.
The
Hey,
three
Marc.
of us here, us men, reminds me of an old Saturday Night Live bit a long time ago. There's like a panel of Dan Aykroyd and Bellucci, and there were five men, and the title of the program was Women's Problems. And it was just hilarious because they didn't know a thing about it. But anyway, we usually have one female, but today, three men, no baby. All right, so here's the deal. Marriage is difficult. Christmas usually makes it more difficult because of all sorts of stress and new situations and people that make us uncomfortable and all of that. And we want to help you, and we don't want you to stress out. How about unrealistic expectations that pop up during this time of year? Or, well, just financial problems, and we can't provide what we wish we could provide. Well, I'm going to ask Marc and JJ what is the best way for the worst situations to be dealt with over the holidays.
Man, I wish I had a magic answer that would answer this for sure 100% of the time, right?
I can't believe it.
Christmas provides a level of stress, right? And it's not really Christmas, though, that is the source of our problems. It's our core conflict patterns that are the source of our problems. And I often say to people, when you squeeze a lemon, what comes out? And of course, the answer is lemon juice. And then I ask the follow-up question, why? Because that's what's inside. And so Christmas provides this level of stress. And when we get squeezed, whatever comes out of us is already what is ever inside. And so learning to identify our core conflict patterns, our triggers, and working on that, that's the way to reduce what comes out of our mouth.
Yeah, just discovering that I deal with things differently than someone else, and that doesn't make them wrong,
Right,
or me bad, or whatever, JJ, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so I would suggest four quick things. One is you want to set aside time to have a conversation about what your different expectations are, so that you're not going into it with an unspoken expectation. Number two, I would say set aside time to pray. Ask God for guidance and unity as you're preparing for the holiday season. Three, I would say that you want to remember that the person that you're negotiating this with, that you're working through, that you're on the same team, that you probably have very similar goals, like we want to have a wonderful Christmas with our kids or with our parents or whatever. We just may have different ways of going about reaching that goal. So we want to remember that we're on the same team. And then fourth, I would say, is look for opportunities to encourage and express gratitude toward one another. That as you do that, you're gonna continue to see that you're on the same team, and you're also going to encourage the response that you're looking for.
Very good. I'm not saying that this is the unpardonable sin, but over the holidays, it could be close, and that is not being flexible, being rigid and my way. Just lighten up and loosen up a little bit and let things go, and you're going to have a much better time. And people might like you this year, so it could be good. 1-800-229-3000 to join us on this program. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. If you need some help, we'll be right back for more of New Life Live. JJ West, Marc Cameron, with me, Steve Arterburn.
Our marriage was just so toxic and just so many simple interactions that turned into conflict. And so we signed up to participate in the workshop.
This is Steve Arterburn. Our Intimacy in Marriage workshop examines the various types of intimacy, spiritual, emotional, and physical, as well as the challenges of experiencing true intimacy.
The tools that we received from the Intimacy in Marriage workshop were tremendous. It was so much that we were able to take and utilize and actually come back and apply.
Don't settle for a miserable marriage or even one that's just okay. It's possible to have that great marriage you always want.
The next Intimacy in Marriage workshop is February 16th to the 18th in Orange County, California. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more or go to newlife.com. 1-800-639-5433.
Best decision we could have ever made. There's no price that we can put on having healthy marriages.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back, and we love being back, and we love being here with you. And we've loved it for a long time now. 35th anniversary just last month. Now, we have a testimony that we want to play. Terry, do you have that testimony up there? I'd love to hear it.
Hi, this is Susan. I live in Northern Illinois, and I've been listening to New Life for many years. Gone to a few workshops, too, and they've really helped me and made a powerful impact in my life. I want to support a ministry that helps people connect with God and with others and gives them the tools to help transform their lives. They also give scholarships for people in need, and so I know New Life can't do these great things, including expensive airtime and giving these scholarships without the generous financial support of their listeners. So if your life has been impacted by this ministry, please consider giving.
Now, thank you for that. I'm so grateful for that testimony. And we really can't. We've always been partners with folks who've supported us. And if you can, all you have to do is, well, you just text the word MATCH, M-A-T-C-H, to this number, 28950, 28950. And everything that you give will be matched up to $200,000. That's pretty special. And so please help us if you can, because everything that happens next year is kind of based on how well we close up this year. So please help us. I have to tell you, I went to a Stephen Curtis Chapman concert last night. And one of my best memories ever is we took our New Life folks over to Israel, and we were there on the steps of the temple, right by a door that Jesus went in. And Stephen Curtis Chapman and his wife went with us, and they performed, and what a memory that was. And this Christmas concert, if you get a chance, you ought to go, because it is just wonderful, and they are just fantastic people. They facilitate adoptions. They help people afford adopting. And of course, I'm an adoptive father, and it's one of the greatest things ever, ever, ever. Anyway, I'm grateful for his music. I've loved it all these years, and it was really special last night. So good job, Stephen Curtis Chapman. All right, let's go to, how about we go and talk with, well, Clyde would be good, from Olympia, Washington. Hey, Clyde, how are you today, and how could we help?
I'm doing good.
Good.
You helped before many years, so I'm back again with you. I used to listen to you daily on KGNW, but they went offline. But you referred me to a person in Seattle that was a Christian counselor, and they really helped me with my son back in the 90s.
Great.
But now I've got a new problem.
Now, let me just mention this, though. You can always hear us on our app. You can just download the app, or you can go to newlife.com. We're there, and you can watch us on YouTube, or you can have your podcast provider. Well, they'll send it to you also. So you don't need a radio station. We love it when we're on these stations, and hope that you'll find a way to hear us. Okay, so how can we help today, Clyde? What's going on?
My daughter, I've got two children. They're adults now, and they've got children. But my daughter has always been kind of like a rebel, so to speak. She would not keep her room clean as a teenager and very disrespectful to her mother. But she got married, and she didn't want to go to college. And she had some mental issues, wasn't really, too profound, but she kind of grew out of that. And she was married, but the marriage failed, but she had two daughters. The older daughter, she had some slight issues, and she went out and went to college. She's trying to work her way through college now. We're a family of medium means, we don't have the money for doctors and psychologists and all that sort of thing. And so the daughter, her marriage failed, and she's trying to raise these two kids on her own, and she would accept help from us, which we could provide, on a small level. But she wanted to maintain her own individuality. And so she said, okay, Dad, we appreciate what you're doing. She was disrespectful to her mother during the teenage years, but after she had kids, she'd come back every day, oh, Mom, I love you, I'm so sorry how I acted as a child. So she changed. But the problem now is her younger daughter. The two daughters are 5 years apart. The older one is out, and she's trying to work her way through college and doing food service job, waitress-type jobs. But the younger one, being there in the house, and the daughter, she doesn't keep a tidy house. In fact, her house looks like some of the houses on TV from the Hoarders.
Really?
You can't see the floor.
Oh,
everything is just falling over. And I looked online. It says a child raised in this kind of house is like a child neglect.
Yeah.
When she looked around, but
it makes sense, doesn't it, that they would feel neglected because they're not going to bring other kids over. They're embarrassed about it, and it's unclean, and they're just not really, their welfare is not being considered, and they feel that, they sense that, they know it. It's very sad.
Yes. Her daughters in school, they would always sit by themselves on the playground, not play with other kids because of exactly what you said.
Okay, so what's the question for us then, Clyde? How could we help you?
The question now is the daughter, she didn't go to college. She didn't get any college. She barely made high school. And so her employment opportunities are limited. And she started going to church. And the pastor put her in contact with another church member that gave her a job, and she grew in that job. But that boss sold the job to a mean boss.
Okay, so you got to get to a question, Clyde. We want to help you.
Okay.
What's your biggest concern?
The question is, if we put pressure on her, and I thought about going to the authorities to either take the child away, give us custody, or whatever. But I think if we do that, then the daughter's going to become suicidal because she's really treasures being a good mom. I think that would throw her over.
Okay.
Because the boss is putting pressure on her, and she's got pressure at home.
Ask us a question, though, Clyde. What could we help you with? What are you most concerned about?
How can I help? What should I do? Should I involve the authorities? I know next year.
Okay. Hold on, because I want to answer that for you. And let's start with you, JJ. What do you think is the best path? She's going to be 18 next year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would contact the authorities here because I think that it would end up actually creating a rift in the family, especially for if we're this close to 18. She's at a stage in life now where, yes, certainly the way she was raised has a major impact on her, but now it's decisions that she's making moving forward, right? So what jobs she chooses to take, how hard she chooses to work, where she chooses to live. I would focus more on talking with your granddaughter about what her goals are and how can you assist her at limited means granted, but how can you assist her in taking steps toward her goals rather than I don't see where calling the authorities because she lives in a messy home, even though it's incredibly messy and there's a hoarding kind of situation there. I don't see how that is going to improve your granddaughter's situation. Now, she may say, you could talk to her directly and say, would you like to come live with us for the rest of your senior year or as you turn 18? That could be a conversation that you could have with your granddaughter and with your daughter, but I don't know that that it would be beneficial to involve the authorities here.
Okay, very good. What about you, Marc? What are you thinking?
Clyde, what's the connection like, or is there even a connection with your granddaughter and her father? Is he around? Is he in the picture?
He was born. He was out of the picture.
Okay, so he's not around. So I'm with JJ on this, right? I mean, she's 17 years old, right? She's almost, legally an adult. So, she's really kind of at that stage where, she's transitioning here. But she's also at a stage where she's trying to make sense of her identity, right? That's what's happening during these teenage years, these latter teenage years, and she's in this chaotic home environment. And so I'm with JJ here. I would express concern to your adult daughter, ask how you can help her, but then I would also be connecting with your granddaughter too. And maybe you and your wife can step into that, mother and father role that she is missing here. And maybe that's, giving advice. Maybe that's taking her out for dinner or to have conversation. And maybe that, maybe the best thing is to have her live with you too. Because it sounds like she's quite isolated. And if you can help her, even get connected in a church, in a youth group, maybe that can be something that can, help her build some social skills too, where she's isolating now.
She
Very
was
good.
in a youth group, and she was Thursday. But now my daughter tells us she hear her praying to Satan. She tried to commit suicide. She's totally out of control. She breaks things in the house and that sort of thing. And I just don't know how I can help her.
Well, Clyde, here's what I think. I think your daughter needs a lot of help. Yes. And your granddaughter needs a lot of help. And if there's any way that you could facilitate them getting some kind of family counseling, even the three of you meeting with a counselor the first time, and then maybe that's all you need to do. But I really do think that just letting things like this go isn't a good thing. Just hoping they work it out, that things get better. I think we need to do everything we can to try to get help for our kids and our grandkids. My wife is a great resourcer, and she finds the best people for the worst problems. And that's the attitude we need if we're going to help people get better. And how many times have folks not done anything, and then the regret when something horrible happens? You just don't want to live the rest of your life thinking, I could have done something, but I didn't do something, and now it's too late.
Clyde, is it an option for the granddaughter to come live with you? Because she just needs some consistency, I think, in her life.
The mother would never consent.
Well, I would start that conversation with your granddaughter and with the mother, with your daughter, and just kind of see what you can work out by putting it out there and being open.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to send you Every Man's Bible. And by the way, there also is the 1-year Bible for men, and we have the 1-year Bible for women. Start off January 1. You can start anytime, but it's great to start at the beginning of the year and read through the Bible. My wife did all the commentary on the woman's Bible, and I did all the commentary on the men's. And it was such a great experience to do it. And then we have great friends that actually give these away to people. So thank you, Carl and Cindy, for doing that. But if you want to give a gift that is God's truth, that it can truly impact a person, reading the Bible through in a year is an amazing experience. And so we have those. All you have to do is call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I don't know if you've noticed, but life is not easy for folks. It's not easy for me. It's not easy for anyone at certain times. And we're always here to give you some help, encouragement, direction at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Always call it 1-800-NEW-LIFE. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come right back with more New Life Live right here.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here, joined by JJ West. Now, JJ is the facilitator, the teacher at Every Man's Battle, and then also Intimacy in Marriage. We love these workshops because people's lives, it's the transformation that we love to see. Not just getting better, but transformation. Romans 12:2 says, don't copy all this junk going on social media. Doesn't actually say social media, but it would if there was that back then. Don't copy the behaviors of the world, but allow God to transform your life by changing the way that you think. Wouldn't that be amazing? God steps in, you surrender to God, and every day you pray for two things. God, let me know your will and give me the power to carry that will out. Do it every day. Wouldn't that be something? You'd have one amazing life. And that's what happens to people when that transformation occurs. It's not about begging God to fix somebody or yourself, but it's just, God, what is your will for me? That's the 11th step in AA or Sex Addicts Anonymous. Pretty powerful step. All right, let's go back to the phones. And how about we talk with, let's talk to Tiffany from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And Tiffany listens on the internet. Hi there, Tiffany. How are you today?
I'm okay. And yourself?
I'm okay. Yes, I am. Glad to be here. My heart's still beating. I'm happy. All right. So how can we help today?
I'm just calling because I'm a grandmother. My son just had a stillbirth on December 1st. The baby was almost due. He was 4 pounds, 1 ounce, 17 and a half inches. And we're all struggling as a family I don't even know what to say. I just want to do it the right way, to speak with him and handle this whole situation as a Christian. So I'm just looking for advice for that, because he did, ask me, at the labor and delivery, and he just said, Mom, he said, I prayed for a healthy baby. And unfortunately, the baby, was born still.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what to tell him. I know it's hard.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Just to even say it.
Yeah.
What do you say? I don't know.
Well, Tiffany, some people, I think, have an incorrect perspective when things like this happen. Like, maybe God was protecting this child from something worse later on. But, in reality, I think in a fallen world outside the Garden of Eden, tragedy is part of life. Disease, deformity, stillbirths. And God doesn't step in and fix every dilemma, heal every body, or prevent pain every time. And sometimes we just have to do whatever we can to get through whatever it is in this broken world that we live in. And if we do get through it, we can grow and we can become stronger. But a lot of times we don't grow and we don't get stronger because we had an expectation of God that, it just wasn't realistic. We wanted to have a wonderful, healthy child. But that doesn't happen all the time in a really defective, fallen world. That's one thing that I would say. And I would also say, and look, when you want to talk to somebody or just be with somebody or cry on somebody's shoulder, I am always here for you. I want to help. So call me. Middle of the night, you call. We'll talk. And that kind of assurance that you're there, it really does make a difference. Marc, what are you thinking here would be helpful in the grieving process that this son needs to go through?
Yeah, I'm so heartbroken for you, Tiffany, and your family. And like Steve is saying, it's grief, right? And you guys are all in grief, not just your son and his wife, but all of you guys are in grief. And it's important to understand the different stages so that we can navigate grief, right? First, is usually denial, but obviously he knows what's happening, so that this presents a shock. And then there's bargaining, which really is trying to make sense of why did this happen. And then comes anger. And there may even be anger at God in here, as your son expresses that. And then comes the sadness. And after that, then there's the resolve with the acceptance. And so what I would say is just be giving presence to your son and your daughter-in-law. Just, as they express, just listen to them. Don't try and fix it. Don't necessarily challenge the anger if it's there. Don't even quote scripture to try and fix it, right? Just give presence. Just be in the moment with them, right? Because we can't connect to an emotion that we are at the same time trying to change, and that's what they need right now. Is they need connection, and there's nothing you can say that is going to take away this pain. So just acknowledge it, be there with them in it, and recognize that you will go through the stages of grief too, and that you may all be in different stages at different times also.
All right, and we'll hear from JJ what he's thinking about this. So sad. Oh my goodness. What a tragedy. I hate this world sometimes.
We all have struggled with weight problems all our lives. This involves not only the health side of it, but the spiritual side of it.
If you're ready to begin a comprehensive plan that provides freedom in every area of your life, New Life's Lose It for Life online intensive can help. This online intensive features Zoom sessions presented by Steve Arterburn and Elena Al-Sharu on Saturday, January 27th, plus 4 small group process sessions facilitated by a credentialed New Life Network counselor.
Of all the things, the best part for me was the small group time.
If you're finally ready to stop going from diet to diet and begin a comprehensive plan that addresses the psychological, emotional, and spiritual aspects of a healthy lifestyle, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or go to newlife.com.
It is a life change. It is not a diet. It is not just a plan. It is a life change.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I have given to New Life regularly because I have so many people that I am referring to New Life who so benefit from the ministry. I just can't imagine what would happen in my area if New Life wasn't available to us.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Prayer, 100 Days of Freedom from Depression, and 100 Days of Peace. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back. I want to remind everybody that the best time to call, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, between 1 and 3. That's when we're in the studio the most. We travel, we speak, things like that take us out. But that's really the best time. 1 to 3 Eastern time, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. And we love it when people go to the app or they go to newlife.com or they watch on YouTube, different ways to experience New Life. And I just hope that you'll tell somebody about it and maybe even support us. We've got this $200,000 matching gift, and we'd like to match it. So if you can help us, please do, because that's $400,000 right there as we close out the year. And boy, do we ever need it, because we want to reach more people than ever. All right, so Tiffany, JJ, you were going to, or I asked you to address this tragic stillborn baby. What do you think?
Yeah, I just first of all, I echo Steve and Mark's thoughts. Tiffany, I'm so sorry
You're on
that
mute,
your family
JJ?
is hurting. What's that? Can you not hear me?
I could hear him, but maybe you can't. I don't know.
Okay. All right. See, Steve, you can hear me. Tiffany, can you hear me? Tiffany, are you there?
Here.
Okay, great. All right, so you can hear me. Okay,
Finally,
so
we're all together.
So everybody can hear everybody. We're all good. Yeah. So Tiffany, I just want to start by expressing, as Steve and Mark did, my sincerest sadness and hurting for you as a family to have to go through this. It's there's no good time to grieve, but certainly around the holidays, it takes on kind of a different feel, a different vibe. So, I'm sorry that you guys are experiencing this loss. I would say that it is important that we are, as Mark said, we're present and we're expressing to one another what it is that we're feeling. It's really easy for us to connect with stories like in the book of Acts. There's the whole story where Peter is in prison and the church prays. I think it's around chapter 11 or so, maybe a little bit further in. and he's in prison. The church prays, and miraculous, right? The angel shows up, breaks him out of prison. He shows up at the door, and they're all ecstatic. Can't even believe it, right? We love those stories. We don't hear a lot of sermons on the story that precedes, where before Peter is released by the angel, James, John's brother, one of the early leaders of the church, is killed. The church prayed for him too. The church prayed for his release. The church prayed for his protection, and it didn't happen the way they anticipated. He didn't get miraculously protected and broken out of prison the way Peter did. And so the church had to cope with, John especially, James's brother, had to cope with the reality that his brother died and God didn't answer their prayer the way they intended, the way they anticipated. And I'm so sorry that God didn't answer the prayer of your son the way that he anticipated. But it's so important to talk about, just like Marc was saying, my disappointment, my anger, my questioning, the fact that this doesn't make any sense. I have to have a safe place to do that. And if you have not already or don't have plans to, I think it's very important for you as a family to have some sort of memorial service, funeral for the child who died, so that you can express your love for that child and your hopes for that child and say your goodbyes to that child. So anyway, I just would add that.
Yeah. And so to that end, we have Life Recovery Bible, and it has a workbook that helps you work through the steps just through the grieving process. It's a grieving workbook, and I'm going to send that to you. A lot of times we don't move on because we don't do the hard work, the grief work. But once we grieve, it's a gift. Grieving is a gift because it allows us to not feel the same level of pain every day. And it allows us to start to move on. We're not stuck there forever. And once we grieve, then we can come to this level of acceptance and then embrace the life that we have, even though we've had this great loss. And I think a lot of people just jump to, I'm going to forgive, and they don't grieve, they don't accept, and they don't embrace. And all of that is part of being free. So if you know somebody that's really stuck and they're not getting better, maybe you could suggest, hey, there's a grieving process here that you need to go through, and you'll be better if you do. All right, let's go to Tina, Cincinnati, Ohio. WCVX is the station. Hi there. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking, but I'm needing your help, which is why I'm calling.
Okay.
So I'm a longtime fan. I'm a believer. I'm in a marriage that's, you use the word stuck, and that's really why I'm calling. I'm 10 years in, and I feel like we're in the same spot as year 2. We've definitely had some challenges. We're both believers on paper, but I'm a stunted believer. I'm definitely a little bit unequally yoked there, realizing that later. But I'm needing help with setting tangible boundaries. It's definitely unhealthy at this point where, there's lots of arguing, and I just, my kids are getting some bad ideas about what marriage looks like, and I feel like I'm in permission to get out of this drowning boat and never quite getting a green light. I've read the boundary books, and I've signed us up for counseling, but we never go the way we're supposed to. We go to 2 out of 10 appointments, and just kind of treading water and getting tired and feeling exasperated, and just like, at what point do you just abandon ship to save, the remaining years left? I just want to be obedient, but I don't really, I like your show because I feel like you give real life advice, like maybe they need to move out for a time. I'm not totally without hope, but I'm pretty low on the meter and feeling like I need to save myself.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what research says. If you divorce, in 5 years, you will be more miserable than if you stay together and work on the problem. How about that?
I would love that very much, but I'm only 50%, and the other part isn't doing anything, and I don't know how to kind of kick them into gear.
Yeah. Well, you do what you can do, and along the way, you invite him to do it with you. But also, when he doesn't respond, then, you've got some challenges for him. Look, if you're not going to go to this, at least read this book with me. At least, and so you're trying every way possible to draw him into a growth or healing process. And I'll let Marc and JJ address when that doesn't happen, when he can't be drawn in, what do you do? Or what are the possibilities that are there? So let's start with you, Marc. What are you thinking?
Well, Tina, I just have a follow-up question here. What is the biggest problem, concern in your marriage? Is it communication, the conflict pattern, or is there more? Is there betrayal? Is there addiction?
That communication piece is crucial, but there's like this deep-seated unforgiveness from like year one that keeps coming back up. 10 years in, we're still bringing it up, and he is, I'm not, but I mean, we have books, they collect dust. Like I said, I signed us up for classes.
What happened year one, Tina?
So there was some brokenness. I like we talk about the world's idea of what marriage should look like. It's like he has these expectations, and I told him like that's not realistic, and he's come back to kind of relent on some of it, but there's some brokenness. Like I hurt his feelings, and he just has never forgiven me.
What did you do to hurt his feelings year one? What's the significant wound?
We got into this argument about our kids from before we got married, and so this big fight that I've apologized, but I'm never quite forgiven.
Okay, well, maybe we can help you with that when we get back from this break. People get stuck and they stay stuck because they're afraid of what's up ahead. Even though it might be better, they don't know. They're afraid. We don't want you to be afraid. We'll try to help.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for over 34 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family, or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step towards genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow. Call 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
All right. Do you have, Marc or JJ, an idea for Tina that gets this man unstuck?
Yeah, I think, Tina, I was asking you some questions here, and I think we're getting closer, and I don't know, I don't want to pressure you into revealing something if you don't want to reveal it, but it sounds like something happened that first year, a big argument about blending families, and I'm wondering if you did something or he perceives you did something, and that's what he's not forgiving here.
So when I ask and we talk about it, it's this idea of being first, and I want that Bible-based marriage, and I do want to honor God and honor my spouse and our kids be in the right order, but there is this distrust because you want me to reverence you as number one, but you are always trying to get out of the boat. Like you're always threatening every time we get an argument, you're going to leave, you're going to find an apartment. Like you want this 100% total trust, but I'm hesitant to give it because you're telling me you don't want to be here and you're showing me.
Yeah, so that makes total sense. And I see people who do that often, right? That what they want is closeness. And when they're not getting it, they threaten divorce, right? And I say to these folks, like, you can't get closeness by threatening distance. Like, those two things are completely the opposite.
Right.
And so, and I get it. I'm in a blended family. My wife and I, we've been married 11 years last month, and we both had a child that we brought into the marriage. And it's challenging, right? It's not the same when you just kind of have the natural nuclear family, right? When you're blending families, there's different dynamics. And yes, while we are, want to be, responsible to our spouses, right, and make them the priority, we do have kids, and everybody is adjusting to the blending, and so there's different dynamics that occur here, and you want your kids also to feel like a priority. You want everybody to feel like a priority here, and so really it's about you two getting on the same page here together and recognizing that there's different dynamics that occur here. I think what would be helpful for you guys, because I hear you talking about how he threatens divorce or to move out. I think your husband may have a vacillator attachment, if you've ever read How We Love, and if you haven't, I encourage you to read it. Maybe that's a resource that we can send you to help you understand what might be a trigger for each of you, and then the reactivity that occurs from that. And so if he won't go to counseling with you, I think Steve was saying, you go first. You start to work on you.
Yeah.
You take responsibility first on the things that you've done, and then invite him to come. Oftentimes we'll see is that when somebody sees that it's not going to be about them, and you're also making your own changes, that encourages them to come. But then if that doesn't, then that's where I think you want to start thinking about boundaries, because no action from him is actually an action. Right?
Agreed.
It says something. Everything speaks.
Yeah.
So that's what I would guide you to do is you get into counseling. We'll send you this book. You read up on that, but also recognize, blended family dynamics.
Also, I'm going to send you Healing is a Choice. There's choices there that you can look at and just say, are we making this choice? Are we healing this situation, or are we hurting it there? JJ, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I would just add, it's important that when I hurt someone in some way, I do something to someone, it's important that I apologize. Yes, I ask for forgiveness. I apologize. But there's often times where I need to make amends for what I've done wrong. Yeah. So if I break your window by hitting a ball through it, I can say, I'm so sorry for breaking your window. But what you're really looking for is for me to pay to repair the window. And so I might start with, or somewhere early on, have the conversation with your husband around, I've apologized for the way that I spoke to you in our first year of marriage. Is there something that you're looking for from me to make amends that I haven't done yet? And if he says no, then you can have the conversation around, so what is it that keeps you from forgiving me? Or if he says, yes, I need you to do this, this, or this, then you can respond with whether or not that's something you can do.
But I also think, Tina, though, in addition to that, you do recognize that you have covenanted with your husband, right? And so, you know, your kids will grow up and they'll be gone, and you guys have covenanted to be together. But I would also express to him how hurtful and how insecure it makes you feel when he threatens to leave.
All right. I'm so glad you called. I hope and pray we're going to see you at one of our intensives where intimacy is the goal. Because when you're in a situation like this, the intimacy is dead. We want to get that back. That's why we call it our Intimacy in Marriage Intensive. Now, the other intensive that we love to talk about is Every Man's Battle. JJ does that. And we have a gentleman online. His name is Jay, and he wanted to share with us about his experience at Every Man's Battle, and we want to hear it. So, Jay, welcome. How you doing?
Hey, thanks. Doing well. Thanks for having me on today.
Sure. Thanks for wanting to tell us. So what was the experience like with Every Man's Battle?
Oh, it was great. One of the best things about it was just realizing, we all have way more in common than we think. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite things that I took away from it was learning about shame and being able to finally see shame as an enemy and that it's not necessary for me to continue on in life.
Yeah. And shame comes from Satan, I believe. And a lot of times we think that's God wanting to punish us and push us down, but no, that's what he wants. And God wants us to live in the grace and the mercy and accept Christ as having paid the price for all those mistakes. Jay, what is it like after Every Man's Battle? Is it the same battle? Is it different?
Oh, man, it's so good. I mean, I felt the weight come off, the special time during the weekend near the end, and just felt so free and realized that who I wanted to be was who I already was, and shame was getting in the way.
There you go.
So being able to just kind of bulldoze it with God's truth and kind of put my real identity back on and realize that it was in the hands of someone else it didn't belong to.
Very good. Thanks for sharing that with us. I really appreciate it. And speaking of shame, Agatha Christie, this great author, in The Moving Finger, that's the name of the novel, she says, God doesn't really need to punish us. We're so busy punishing ourselves. And boy, do we ever do that in the wake of shame. I lived in it. I thought it was my job to convince God that nobody felt worse about my sin. And then I realized that really isn't what God wants. God wants us to live in freedom and to accept the grace that's there for us. Not cheap grace. But Jay, thanks for sharing that. Really, really appreciate it, and hope and pray that this will be one of the best holidays ever. And anybody that would like to change the course of history on a holiday, come to one of our intensives. We've been doing these for years, decades, and we always try to make them better. After every one, we look at the evaluations and see what we can do to make it better. We're not looking for people to be better. We're looking for people to transform their lives. Total transformation. Well, God bless you. Thanks for being here. Thanks, JJ, and thank you, Marc, for being here. If you can help us, it's a matching fund, $200,000. Help us if you can, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We love you, we care about you, and we'll see you next time right here on New Life Live.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE, but when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.